The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Let's go! I'll be back. He on the attack. Move out of my way. Hey, hey. Come to my ducks in the pond. These gals out here like grass on melon. And let me tell you one thing. I ain't going home. No, I ain't going home. Come to my ducks in the pond. These gals out here like grass on melon. And let me tell you one thing. I ain't going home. No, I ain't going home. Why you messing around? The woman on your mind. You didn't hold your ground. Now you asking all around. Did you see him? Tell him I didn't mean it. Why you messing around? The woman on your mind. You didn't hold your ground. Now you asking all around. Did you see him? Tell him I didn't mean it. Come to my ducks in the pond. These gals out here like grass on my lawn. And let me tell you one thing. I ain't going home. No, I ain't going home. Come to my ducks in the pond. These gals out here like grass on my lawn. And let me tell you one thing.
Good yawning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Thursday, the 26th of February, 2026, and you are on the clock with Avi Greene. You might as well call me Avi because I ain't going home. You rowing each and every day, I ain't going home. You know when, you meet somebody and then all of a sudden they just move into your house and take over? Like just a chance meeting, and then all of a sudden you're all married. You don't know how you get married, but you're in this relationship, they move in your house and they just take over. And now you ain't in charge of nothing. Anyway, call me Avi, because I ain't going home. Not until this CARICOM meeting is finished. Anyway, we got lots to talk about this morning. Let me tell you what I prepared last night, and then let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. After looking at today's papers, we're going to have like a local segment, and then we're going to have like a broader regional and global segment. Perhaps we start in foreign. Let's start in foreign with this story here. Rubio pushes reinvigorated relationships with CARICOM. That's what the wife is saying too. She pushing for the reinvigorate. Anyway, let's get back to this article. It's a very interesting article. Rubio pushes reinvigorated relationships with CARICOM, emphasizing the Trump administration's focus on prioritizing previously ignored Western Hemisphere neighbors and reinvigorating relationships. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who addressed Caribbean leaders in St. Kitts and Nevis on Wednesday, outlined several key areas of focus with regional partners, including, and we're going to go to page 6, including security, economic advancements, and regional stability. Stick a pin. I feel like this article here should have been all on the front page, but the whole thing on the front page. Here's why. Because as soon as I saw this article, I said, you know what? I want to look at this article, and I want to look at the Secretary of State Marco Rubio's address to the Munich Security Conference at the same time. Actually, I haven't read through the whole article, so we're going to read through it this morning. But I want to know if anybody at CARICOM asked Marco Rubio to address statements made at the Munich Security Conference on Valentine's Day, right? See, because the way that the U.S. government, right, released the speech, it's titled, Secretary of State calls on European leaders to defend Western civilization in Munich Security Conference speech, right? And so I want to know, what do they mean by defend civilization, and what is our role in the Caribbean in the defense of Western civilization, but more importantly, in Western civilization itself, right? Let's go back to the article in today's paper, page 6. We continue reading, and then we're going to go to the February 14th statement by the Secretary of State. Quote, "We view our security, our prosperity, our stability to be intricately tied to yours. And we are going to evidence in the actions we're prepared to take and in the priority that we want to give this our intent to follow through on it." We could have saved a whole lot of words. All you had to say is, "We're going to do our endeavor best." Don't ever diss that phrase. You see how it compacts all of that madness? We could do our endeavor best. I continue reading from the article. This our intent to follow through on it, which is why I'm here today, which is why I wanted to come here today and interact with all of you collectively and a few of you individually in the time that's permitted to me, comma, close quotes, Rubio stated. See, here's the first thing I'm going to say. You came to CARICOM, you could talk to all of us one time. You know, when you out on a date, ladies, when you're out on a date, ladies' night, all girls, and some handsome, tall glass of water come over, he singles out one young lady, and he wants to talk to her. And then you realize he's trying to pull her aside to talk to her, you know, in privately. And then we all throw up our shoulders and say, whatever you could say to her in the dark, you could say to her in the light right here. If we came to the party together, then we're going to stick together in the party. I don't know, it's just like life lessons I learned when I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. He highlighted, we go back to the article, he highlighted shared opportunities and common challenges the administration hopes to confront. Quote, "We are interested in rebuilding and constructing a new dynamic in this Western Hemisphere, in which we partner with all of you on the issues we share in common," close quotes, he said. Well, listen, you know what? This is a great opportunity, because you know what I realize? I realize that the United States of America has a health care crisis the same way that the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has a health care crisis. Why don't we partner in this issue that we share in common, as opposed to giving us $800,000 worth of equipment, which could, maybe used, I'm not sure, could be used, because that's sort of how it works, right? A drug incinerator, a couple other things, $800,000 worth of stuff that could have been $800,000 worth of supplies for a hospital, for Family Island clinics, right? Family Island clinics that serve American tourists who cruise through the country all the time. And then let's get back to the article. Rubio pointed to transnational criminal organizations as the, quote, "most urgent security threat in the region," close quotes, many of whom have funding and power that rival, if not exceed, that of many of the nation states that they threaten. Which is also another interesting point. I wonder how many of those transnational criminal organizations are based in the U.S. or are, right, at the helm, pun intended, these transnational entities. That's something that we could partner on. Like, you focus on interdicting the Americans involved in these activities, right? Because ain't nobody blowing conch shell to call his boy in off the water because storm coming is organizing a, let me get the term correct because it's such a beautiful term, transnational criminal organizations. Let's continue. Quote, "We recognize that it is an interlocked challenge that comes from a broader perspective," close quotes, he said. Quote, "Number one, they're obviously fueled by narco-trafficking and other illicit means." You mean narco-trafficking that's rooted in the narco war that's been used to destabilize the political agency and sovereignty of smaller countries in the Western Hemisphere? Just checking. This article is very, very interesting. Number one, they're obviously fueled by narco-trafficking and other illicit means. Oftentimes, those drugs and the proceeds from those drugs are destined for the United States. But the proceeds from those drugs, the money they're ultimately making is being made in the streets of our country. Because the people who set up the organization are the people who are making the money. This is a danger in the countries that they transit, and it's ultimately a danger to the national security of the United States. This is true. Nobody argues about this. Nobody is arguing about it at all. The question is about the allocation of resources, authority, and power. From the article, quote, "We've also watched with alarm at the level of armament that these groups have. We recognize that many of these groups are buying weaponry from the United States and that we are committed and continue to work very hard with our law enforcement agencies to shut that down." Close quotes. In the Bahamas and other CARICOM states, leaders have long expressed concerns about U.S. manufactured weapons being trafficked into their countries and used in the commission of serious crimes. Quote, "We have a long history of working together on responding to these challenges, but I think our cooperation will have to grow even deeper, and our commitment to it will have to grow even stronger, because these groups grow stronger," close quote, said Rubio, who pointed to a wave of violence triggered by the death of a cartel leader in Mexico on Sunday. Rubio also said the Caribbean can benefit from a more stable Venezuela. You know, a wave came over me just now, like I'm married, right? Like I'm not married. But is that how it feels? Like, is that how it feels when your husband's side chick tells you your marriage could benefit from you chilling out a little bit? Is that how it feels? I just checking. Because I've never been married, and as you could tell by my demeanor, they ain't gonna let me marry nobody for their own safety. We continue reading from the article. In the early morning hours of January the 3rd, 2026, U.S. Special Forces arrested and extracted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from his country's capital city of Caracas to face drug and gun charges in the U.S. for which he was indicted. I had another flashback just now. I remember watching Crisis, right, unfold on American television. And then I thought to myself just now, you know what? Marco Rubio was probably the same age as me and many of us in this country as we watched that unfold in the global news, sitting here in the Bahamas worrying and wondering how this state of affairs will impact Bahamians on the ground and Bahamians in the diaspora. Go back to the article, quote, "Irrespective of how some of you may have individually felt about our operations and our policy towards Venezuela, I will tell you this, and I will tell you this without any apology or without any apprehension." See, it's at this point here that probably I would have to resign. I can walk out the room. That's why I'm not the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and that's why we celebrate the professionalism of the staff in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the minister that leads them. Let's go back to the article. "I will tell you this," be quoting Marco Rubio, "I will tell you this without any apology or without Venezuela is better off today than it was 8 weeks ago. The progress being made there is substantial and there's a long ways to go," close quote, Rubio said. I don't know. If a Venezuelan said it, maybe I'd believe it. Because it's Venezuelans who make the account. How are you an American? Not even an ordinary American. See, that's the part there. You're not even an ordinary American. You're a special citizen. You're the Secretary of State. I don't think it's your place to make that assessment. And at the very least, don't be like the Bahamian government. Give us some metrics. Tell us why. Show your work. We continue reading from the article. He added that ultimately, in order for Venezuela to take the next step to truly develop and to truly benefit from its riches for the benefit of its people, it will need the legitimacy of fair democratic elections. Is there? No, there are lots of examples. There are lots of model countries that Venezuela could turn to for, what's the term used here? Fair elections. I got a little lost in the article. Here we go. To benefit, it will need the legitimacy of fair democratic elections. That puts the Bahamas out of play because Article 73(1)(a) of the Constitution and the fact that nobody felt it necessary to tell the voting public what it means. Let's get back to the article. In the aftermath of Maduro's capture was to ensure that there wasn't instability, that there wasn't mass migration, that there wasn't spillover violence, and we believe we have achieved that, close quotes, Rubio said. Quote, now we are in the process from going from that phase of stability to a phase of recovery. Producer Prep the caller, just in case it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That country needs to recover from a lot of things, including deep internal fractures, but also some dysfunction that existed in their economic systems. Is that what I just want you all to be familiar with the language because what they call it, some dysfunction that existed in their economic systems. Perhaps it's a euphemism for economic embargo. Stick a pin in the article. We're going to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning, Ms. Greene. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well, Ms. Greene. I heard you talking about medical stuff and dysfunction and just not, embargo. But I was wondering, because recently we heard America threatened Cuba, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what Cuba represents for being medical
in the hemisphere. Yeah.
Yeah, to the world basically.
Yeah, the medical brigade, the labor brigade. Yes.
Yes. Cuba offers medical care for underprivileged and different stuff like that. They quick to assist. So I was wondering, do you feel as if the United States, if they were to disrupt Cuba, like what impact do you feel that would have on medical care in the region and different stuff like that? Do you think that we'd feel that?
Okay, so you framed it as a hypothetical. Let me frame it as an actuality. So, you saw the nurses sick out the other day?
No, I heard about it.
Okay,
I heard
so,
something about it.
A few months ago, the U.S. government communicated with our government that they're going to require us to stop using the services of the Cuban Medical Brigade to bolster and support our healthcare system. With the removal, right, and then they said that the process that the medical brigade operates under is tantamount to slave labor. That's what the U.S. said.
I remember them, yes.
Right, and then we stopped using the services of Cuban doctors. One critical. Pardon?
Or renegotiated the terms.
Have those doctors returned?
No, I said, or renegotiate.
Okay, so no, but see, but here's the thing: we didn't renegotiate. Okay, we were told to stop, right? And then our government told us that they are interrogating what options are available. But of course, they also indicated they're waiting for the U.S. government to tell them what options are available to them, right? So it's not a hypothetical, right? The embargo on Cuba and now the tightening, the enhanced visa restriction policy has had a real effect on Bahamian lives, has caused not just a shortage of nurses, which is a problem, but a disruption in the functioning of the public healthcare system, which is a broader problem, right? And the state's inability to manage this disruption and to create new and more effective systems has led to, I will speculate, the circumstance of a sick out where a number of people may or may not have died because of a lack of urgent care and attention due to the fact that the nurses were invoking what should be a constitutional right to protest unfairness in their sphere. So that's a real living example of how the existing embargo on Cuba, and the enhancement or the new visa restriction policy has affected Bahamian lives.
Yes, because I was curious, because I know we have, our government has cooperation with the Cuban government where we send individuals down there for
And dentistry.
Stuff like eye correction surgeries, different stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how would that impact us and the individuals who need that. I mean, I think recently I heard China was doing this, offering the same thing. So I was wondering how would that, how would that affect our medical, the individuals who need medical, who, like I say, our government in cooperation with Cuba. Because, we need to stand up as a region. We need to stand up as a people, to just sit back and allow America to just transform not only the region, but our quality of life unaffected in such a way, and we just sit back and just allow it. You might as well put up a fight as opposed to just sitting back and getting walk on. You know what I mean? If the end result is going to be, you suffering, well, you put up a fight.
Or write a letter, write a book, do something. Do something.
Something.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much.
Right. Imagine that if people were describing the Bahamas in the future, that a descriptor that they could use is the Bahamas is a place where you could go to an eye doctor suspecting that you are losing your vision and have lost your vision before you could go to the appointment for the doctor to confirm that you're losing your vision. That's how the aliens are gonna describe the Bahamas in the future. And I am living in a space on this plantation where people are threatening to hurt you and police officers are behaving in a way that suggests that they are going to criminalize you because to them that while they're looking for inspection and license, the people driving past them on their cell phone and with no seatbelt on. Let's go to the phone line before we get back to these articles. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Madam Erin. Greene, this Grammy boy here.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I am wonderful. Listen, what I don't understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
This drug thing, this marijuana drug thing.
Mm-hmm.
A plant. Yeah, I got common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I even where a plant come from, where it come from, but it grows.
Mm-hmm.
It grows. Why are governments wasting millions and millions and billions of dollars on resources trying to stop a plant that grows naturally?
Because of
That
oil.
don't make no sense.
Because of oil and economics. We learned this. The prohibition on cannabis, right, was created to protect a burgeoning industry, right? Because the boy them who was pull oil out the ground realized, right, that the products that they make from the oil out of they pull out of the ground with their specialized equipment, right? That those products in a market where people are able to make the same types of products from a plant they could grow in their yard.
So it's a money thing.
Yes.
It's just a money thing.
Always has been.
But people losing their life and getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
That growing right in the back of my yard.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it there.
Imagine we maintain a societal attitude that people that consume cannabis are villains. They deserve to be vilified and criminalized. And if they perhaps, behave badly and get shot by the police, all you have to say is, oh, that's one of them dope smokers. And the whole thing is excused.
Come from in America back in the early 1900s with the Mexicans.
Well, listen.
The Mexicans were the ones who brought that into the U.S. as their comfort to do the American work.
It's all a part. Listen, it's all a part of the broader campaign for the prohibition of cannabis. All of those things were devised, right? The term marijuana is like a slur, right? All of these things were devised from the people at the top who wanted to protect an industry. You could see the industry, right? And the extent to which they will protect it. The petrodollar, right?
Uh-huh.
That's where we live in right now. And
I'm
many
getting ready.
Yes, sir.
I getting ready to go to my event. Of course, you know about it in a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rastaman who just called. I normally don't agree with much what he say, but we really need change. But how do we accomplish that, Ms. Greene, if we want change?
We have to actually do it.
Exactly.
How much? I want to. You launch two different segments that can launch at the same time, right? Because I want to talk about this article: cannabis industry launch stalled by missing digital platform. And all I want to know is who thieved the digital platform? When did it go missing? Did you make a police report? And did you? Because I got one Podcake around the corner from me who could find anything. Did you hire him? You know what I'm saying? But I also have another two things I want to talk about, sort of based on what you said just now. But you good?
Yeah, I good. I did ready for my appointment, my 2:00 appointment before I head off this rock, because I'm supposed to be leaving officially on Sunday to relocate to the United States.
And is it because that you cannot guarantee the healthcare resources you need here that you go in there?
Yeah. Well, I saw. I think some of it was deliberate, but I saw 3 orthopedic doctors with a broken fractured femur. The bone is a little brittle, but they tell me nothing they could do, and that has vastly affected my ability to help and sustain myself. So I'm gonna have to jump to the U.S. and see what they have.
I got you.
They ain't gonna offer for me.
Listen, when you go, start talking, do the research now, start talking with your doctor now about a plan called Comfy. Bone strengthener.
Yeah, but we can deal with all that in the U.S.
Okay.
I'm sure.
But listen,
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Let me go, and I sad to hear you going.
Yeah, I could be on your phone call away, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. All right. We had 2 callers on the board. We're going to go to the callers, but just leading into those 2 callers, y'all been following the Ministry of Public Works and Family Affairs TikTok account? The things that we're focused on. Let's go to the phone. Good morning, caller.
A pleasant good morning, Mrs. Greene. Miss Greene, how you doing, ma'am?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hi, this is yours truly, Gene Vincent Sparky. On what you were talking about, Miss Greene, my father told me that my father was born in 1920, and he told me that when he was about 19, smoking marijuana was legal in the Bahamas.
It was legal. Maybe it just wasn't defined in law, right? Like maybe they just hadn't put it in law yet. 1920s. Well, it is definitely a political, economic policy. That's what it is. Good morning, caller.
Hey, Erin, how you doing?
I good, thank you. How you do?
All is great, sis. Good morning, my blessed Bahamas. It's a quiet and shame. My cousin stop at Marvin got to go to state for treatment. Bahamas is the third richest country in the Western half my pair behind America and Canada. Bunch of mean, greedy behemoth hogs. People making billions of dollars in this country run by 10 what the thing's name? The blood claim?
Yeah, the dialysis machines.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you. I keep telling you, these parliamentarians, they don't like us, They don't like the behemoth. I don't know why they don't leave the country where they like and leave us. Let us run this country. Because we know how the country needs to be run. We know what the behemoth people need. And like somebody said earlier, Ali McIntosh, and she's breaking down so I break it here. We got more than 400,000 people in this country, Erin. Long time. As I mean, this little island every day. There's must be 500,000 cars on a small island. But the people who went on 4-wheelers Monday hit somebody, car, woman fall her, and some tourists riding, and she can't so bad. I try to tell me she wrong, behave herself. And I agree with you. The policemen them need to start doing a better job what they do, man. Start doing a better job. Erin, the country is rich. I keep telling you all, we won't get no blessing in this country until we get rid of 90% of the moves to school. Because none of them amended the law to help the baby people. You try to go to the bank to borrow $10,000. Let me tell you, do you have $10,000 cash? So if I had $10,000 cash, would I go to the bank and borrow the money? I might have 3 or 4. See, nothing working right in this country. Somebody crying for the business license. They said the license could tell March, the end of March. What are you paying taxes for?
Yeah.
$97 million of consulting fees, man.
Yeah, why you bring everybody to renew in the same month, and you cannot renew all the licenses in that month? You
see what need to happen, Erin? See Alan Johnson, Graham Mudford, and you young people, you're smart, They don't listen to you. They don't want these things to go digital because the paper trail will be found, and everybody who's doing skullduggery will have to go to jail. Erin, I can go on this point.
Yes,
right?
sir.
You know, I trying to calm down.
Yes, sir.
Because I lose a lot of family members and personal friends. Every day, somebody dying.
Mm-hmm.
That's stress.
Mm-hmm.
Erin, next month is March. Mr. Simon Wilson, don't pay none of these members of parliament if they don't return their please. Tell them park our car.
That's it.
That's law.
Park it. Right. And isn't that a better alternative than going to jail, which is what the penalty is?
Exactly. $10,000 fine or 2 years in jail. So you can start from the top. All your PSs and your directors to mission the police to manage the defense force, and Erin, let's get it so we can read these things.
Yes, sir.
We know how much money they're making.
And then let's let it gazette it, and then after they gazette it, what we're going to do is we're going to sit down, right, and we're going to look at it, because what the people who are beholden to this, because it's written badly, why you don't fix it? You're the person who could fix it.
Exactly. And
Yes, sir.
It's no excuse. It's no excuse. I talk about yellow and red and black.
Mhm. Listen.
I go on this.
Absolutely. Listen, on the note that you're saying, I can let you go. On the note that you're saying, right? I like to talk about my personal experience. When we're talking about the allocation of resources, right? And what's happening here. Because you look at today's Guardian and you look at the picture on page 6. All of these Caribbean leaders, first of all, y'all stop smiling in these photos. We don't send y'all there to smile. Marco Rubio smiling? No. Why y'all smiling? Right? As I look at their faces, right, I cannot forget that when I had to go to the clinic, and I'm going to use a word here, for my first examination, I had to put my legs up in stirrups, right? Except there was only one stirrup, and my right leg had to go up on the back of a chair. And the doctor had to use the light on his cell phone examination. And all I could think about, once I got past the fact that I was being stalked at one point and the police refused to investigate it, right? Once I got past those feelings, all I could think about is that the government took a team of singers to London to perform for the Golden Jubilee, and they stayed at the Savoy. And the government didn't feel it fit to tell us, the Bahamian public, about it. That's all I could think about. While I had my leg up on the chair because we don't have enough stirrups to make sure all the beds have... So when I turn and I look here at this picture, all of these leaders smiling, I wonder what's happening. Is that Kamala in the back? The woman in the back ain't smiling. I like her. Anyway, let's go to the phone line, because I got plenty more to touch on. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. You need a 4-hour show, man. You're so rich with all this information. But you were talking about Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
and then I heard someone talk about Cuba. You know, both countries have resources because, you know, at the northeastern tip of Cuba, where you find mostly colored people, they got this thing called cobalt, which is kind of like necessary for these batteries. And I am pretty sure a certain president has his rare eye at that cobalt, you know, because he has a Cuban Marco who's working right close to him. And they know about it. And, you know, I am wondering how profitable would it be for the Bahamas to really truly its resources when you have a bigger shark out there who just wants to say, well, look, I want it. It's like you just found out you have it, but now I come in to take it. I mean, that seems to be the kind of environment we live in.
And hold on, and people are looking at you and saying exactly what they mean. When somebody tells you that they are a king, what they're telling you is they're invoking the principles of the crown. And one of those principles is this: you could buy the house, you could buy the property and put the house on it, but the crown owns everything in the ground that the house sits on, right?
Right.
So when somebody says to me, they want the whole Western Hemisphere?
Believe them.
Yes, sir. Listen, thank you very much.
Right.
I got 2 more callers on the line. Thank you very much. And I got to draw a frame for this. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there? Good morning, caller.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Listen,
Turn your radio down.
I'm a cab driver here, right?
Yes, yes.
and I take guests to all of them ports and fancy gated communities, stuff like that. Do these folks get taxed? Because look, we have to borrow money every year. I went in the back of, I think I'm today, where immigration went, Palm Key. Man, does the government tax these people, man? If you tax Palm Key, that could pay off the teachers. If you tax Cypher Key, that could pay off the government workers. If you tax Paradise Island, that could pay off the police officers. If you tax, you give them getting from, why we got to keep on borrowing $30, $40, $50 million every year? Are these rich people really paying tax? The middle class.
Well, the question is, are they paying tax and who they paying it to?
That's another thing, because it's ridiculous of all these rich people here and benefiting, but we ain't getting a dollar. We always getting taxed. It's crazy. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. It should not be.
Listen.
It should not be. Each one of those entities I name off can pay an easily $20 million tax a year, because they're making $500 million a year.
And call it the sin tax, because many people come to live here to do things here that they can't do in their own country. Call it a sin tax.
Yeah, that too, and that's crazy. And for the photo that you keep on saying, let me put a little cue. Allegedly, yeah, they smile because their bank account fat.
Yes.
Have a good day, darling.
Listen, the gentleman said allegedly. That was just a joke. That was just a joke. Okay, so I wanted to draw a frame of reference before we go to a break, and then there we go. I can just, very quickly, when we get back from the break, I want to talk about what happened at Bafa, the gentleman that has Tourette syndrome, right? And I want to talk about the Gulf of America, because the Gulf of America was not renamed to the Gulf of the Americas, right? No, it's the Gulf of America. Anyway, we have to go to the break. When we get back from the break, we're going through the text line. We're going through Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send pictures direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas. Then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons?
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The following is a paid political message.
Find it here. You're looking for truth. Find it here. Vote for MacGyver. She's here for you. See everybody in Kalani. Change his hair. Hey. Hands in the air. See everybody in Kalani. Vote for MacGyver. She is a fighter.
That was a paid political message.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Good morning. Welcome back to On the Clock with Erin, Greene. So I want to sort of frame this interrogation of Marco Rubio's comments at the CARICOM meeting, right? Let's go back to the article. Emphasizing the Trump administration's focus on prioritizing previously ignored Western Hemisphere neighbors and reinvigorating relationships. Right? Right there. Stick a pin right there, right? What relationship? You know, I'm not married, but it makes me feel like you done cheat on me, you done talk about me badly, you done ignored me, you wouldn't pay the child support, you wouldn't pay the school fees, right? You kick your children off the medical insurance at work because you could, right? I don't know. I'm not married, but somehow I feel like in a bad marriage, right? I don't know if I could trust those words. And so let me frame it. The first framing is this. If we really had that type of relationship, would you have called it the Gulf of America or the Gulf of the Americas, considering this hemisphere is made up of Americas, the northern part, the southern part, and the central part, which includes the Caribbean? No, first off. Second off, right? You all heard about the BAFTA Awards, British Film Awards. There was a gentleman who has Tourette's. He was sort of a feature at the event because the film about his life was given an award and was being featured in the night's events. This gentleman that has Tourette's, he shouted, he had an outburst of the N-word several times during the show. The producers edited out all but one, right? All but one outburst, an expletive. The N-word, it's an expletive, right? When we use the word nigger, we use it for teaching purposes, right? To interrogate important points. We don't just use it casually. So at one point he used it while Lindo and Michael B. Jordan were on stage, two black men, prominent actors. Slipped out, right? One of the attendees, a black woman, said that when the gentleman was walking past her, or she was walking past him, it also slipped out. And many people pointed out that the Tourette's is a compulsory, like you cannot control it, right? These outbursts. And some people say it's what's in your subconscious. You can't control it coming out. In fact, you're driven to say the things that you know you should not say, right? Kind of like that. And I thought, you know what? I think it's important that racism isn't just about what you do, it's about how you feel. And how you feel is manifested through what you do, right? The gentleman never apologized to the people of African descent in the room for the outburst, even if it was uncontrollable. We make children apologize, even if their behavior is uncontrollable, right? The production team did not. The hosts did not apologize to the people of African descent in the room. Nor did the production team apologize for not cutting it all out, because you could have cut all of them out, right? They didn't feel it necessary to apologize because both things could be true at the same time. They could have been completely out of his control, and it could have been completely and totally offensive and intolerable at the same time. Nobody felt the need to apologize. I think that's the world that we're living in. I don't know if I could believe anybody when they tell me that this is about us and our relationship, especially not after some of the excerpts from Marco Rubio's speech on Valentine's Day to the Munich Security Conference. I'm going to read it as it was posted, right? Here's a title: Armies do not fight for abstractions, they fight for a people, a nation, and a way of life. That is what we are defending. Quote, national security, which this conference is largely about, is not merely a series of technical questions, how much we spend on defense or where and how we deploy it. These are important questions, but they are not the fundamental one. The fundamental question we must answer at the outset is, what exactly are we defending? When the United States Secretary of State goes to Europe to speak to the Europeans and they talk like this and they say, what are we defending? Right? It says we are all part of one civilization, Western civilization. What are you talking about? Why are you making a distinction between, because the last time we made this distinction, Africans didn't rank very high. We didn't rank very well on the list. The language is troubling to me. Under President Trump, America will once again take on the task of renewal and restoration. So when did y'all take it on the last time? Don't answer. Don't answer. It is time to unshackle our ingenuity and build a new Western century. Together we can reindustrialize our economies and rebuild our capacity to defend our people. But the last time y'all industrialized your economies, it was on the backs of black people, of Africans and Indians and Chinese people, brown people, but black people primarily. And then you coerced those other brown-skinned people on your side, lest you be treated like us. No, I don't know if I like it at all. It makes me uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. The only fear we have is the fear of the shame of not leaving our nation prouder, stronger, and wealthier for our children, our people, and safeguard our freedom to shape our own destiny. Who is the our that you're talking about? Did you say these sorts of things at the CARICOM meeting? Let's go to the phone line quickly, and then we're going to go to the text line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
I just want to explain some positive in what you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
The problem is that if we sit in a nanny state waiting for somebody to give us something, we will continue to be in the position we are.
Mm-hmm.
The world has moved into a fight for technological knowledge and digital supremacy. AI and quantum computing add to that. Believe it or not, this creates an even keel for behemoths because it's a battle of thought. Now, if we lack the ability to think, then we are going to be in trouble, because this is no longer one where the resources is necessarily tangible, except to build those technological devices.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's use an example. We talk about tourism, and we talk about the 12 million, let's say, cruise tourists,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you know that 430,000 stopover visitors is equal to all of the cruise tourism?
Yeah.
Using the 28 figure. So if we were just into America to see how we work to synergize, how we can go over, they have access to the resources in the tune of trillions of dollars. More so with the new legislation that Trump has brought into play, such as the Genius Act and the revision of the banking laws through the Clarity Act that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
It gives us the opportunity to build those 6,000 rooms, because for 430 additional, pretending we already have 100% occupancy, because of course our operating of 65% occupancy gives us room already for another 700,000 people. So we could look at just bringing 450,000 people for our current occupancy, take us up to 85, 95%. But let's look at diversifying across the entire Bahamas. These 6,000 rooms needed to handle 430,000 people. And if tourism is 80% of our GDP, and we do an extrapolation from those figures, then we could very easily add 40 to 60% to our GDP just by bringing another 500,000 Americans here. And so we have opportunities, and that's only to bring it as a temper. You know what you say, to stop the decline and grow the economy, as we diversify into the other opportunities, because all of these digital economies we spoke of is essentially knowledge-based economies.
Yeah.
And so we have the opportunity to rethink and reimagine who we are. And instead of continuously sitting at the foot of these tables collecting the crumbs, it's even possible for us to build a new table and invite others to sit with us.
Absolutely. See, Alan, I know I didn't get to the article, DPM Bahamians must take advantage of cruise tourism growth today, but we're going to get to it next week, eh? Thank you very much. Good morning, caller. You got 30 seconds. I got to get to the text line. How are you? I'm sorry I missed you. You didn't have 30 seconds even. So let's go to the text line. Our role in the Caribbean is to stop snuggling up with the Chinese them. Listen, let us continue to make a distinction between nationality and ethnicity. These descent that have a constitutionally guaranteed right to equal and equitable access to the resources of the nation. Here's another text. Erin, you're on a roll. Preach it. Preach it, sister. Don't. No, somebody can call me to church soon. Erin, in these wild, diabolical last days, we are being backed into a corner by many foreigners, becoming a minority instead of the majority. Now, just think, when you feed the cattle expensive feed, they become expensive Angus. We're being fattened by America and China. But why are we being fed to the wolves soon? No one wants to eat a drugged and disease-filled cow. Listen, such imagery. I think it's a little proxy war. They mad. They fighting. It's also like generational property. When you and your wife are like distant cousins, but you live on the same you have access to the same generational property, and she moved right next to you and she refused to leave, you can't move me. I hear. I may be right on your elbow, but I hear you can't move me. Here's another text. Erin, that's what you always call him? I like that. Just call him Narco Rubio. Because I didn't think that somebody my age would be so committed to war. Erin, tell Narco Rubio how Venezuela better, I think it was a typo though, how Venezuela better off after 8 weeks with sanctions what America put on them many, many years ago. Narco Rubio is a bunch of conquering, thieving devils. Tell him what about the oil, what Narco Rubio conquering from them Venezuelans. Boy, listen, with no disrespect to the government of the United States of America, Narco Rubio is the funniest thing I've heard all year. Here's another text. Hey, Erin, Cuba just killed 4 people and injured 6. You ain't saying nothing about that yet on your show. All you doing is running on and trying to undermine Marco Rubio. So you telling me that Cuba, in its defense of its borders, with the U.S., with the story that the U.S. moved battleships in the region, with the U.S. landing kinetic weapon strikes, direct energy weapon strikes on boats in the region, that Cuba is not allowed to defend its borders? That's what you're saying? Oh boy. Man, I hope that was in Narco Rubio, because I was a bit rude. Me. Hello, Erin. How do you spell the bone strengthener you just recommended? I think it's Comfrey, Comfrey. As always, talk to your doctor about consuming or using natural remedies. Here's another text. Can you have these people who keep talking about natural resources to name them and provide evidence of their revenue? Erin, I totally agree that the comment shouldn't be aired and edited out, but how can you blame and criticize a man with Tourette's syndrome when they can't control their actions? Listen, so I don't think people are upset that we're upset that he said it, but that's not what people are critiquing. It's the lack of apology, the lack of recognition of how devastating it is for a people of African descent who are being recognized as being at the pinnacle of their field. The production company didn't apologize. The organizers didn't apologize. And that's exactly how the world feels about us and race and racism. Could y'all just get over it? But here's the problem. Racism isn't just about what you do, because what you do is driven by how you feel. And why is it that that word is in your subconscious at all? Right? Why are you saying somewhere inside your mind, oh, don't say nigga, don't say nigga? Right? There was no real apology. They call you young at 50, but a raccoon was knocked down on Village Road this morning. I'm not saying it's you, but I know you don't like raccoon. We apologize. Listen, raccoon, we're so sorry. Good day, Erin. Everybody wants to be telltales what kind of Bahamas we want. So Cuba was protecting the borders when they killed 4 Bahamians in 1988? Dear texter, you're conflating issues. You're conflating issues. That means you have something that sounds similar and you throw it there supporting your point, but it doesn't match. It doesn't work. With no disrespect to the victims or the families of the victims.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian